Hey, I'm Steph.
And I'm Meg, and you're listening to the Slowly Stitched podcast where we talk all things conscious fashion.
You're in for a treat today, everyone. Episode 3 is about the mistresses of fashion. We're going to be touching on how fashion is the biggest player in the game and has a relationship with everyone and everything. And it really does indicate how a society or the globe in general are doing. So before we get into it, Meg, what is your fashion feeling for today? Because you're looking very dapper in your double denim.
I'm trying. I feel like I have been inspired by Kendrick. And no, we're not going to be talking about rap battles today. But yeah, just that play on kind of Canadian suits and like double denim. I've had this co-ord, but I've never worn it like this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, the power of styling is really, really different. I feel really excited. Like, I think this conversation is going to be incredible. And we're really going to be talking about messages and subliminal messages that get sent through society through fashion and clothes, and I'm doing a play on a suit. What does a suit show? Power, confidence, and I'm doing it with denim. So it's like a chilled version of I'm that boss, you better listen.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
But what's your fashion feeling today, Steph?
I think because, you know, by the title, The Mistresses of Fashion, I was feeling a little bit flirty. Okay, I really wanted to like give off really boss feminine energy today, which is why I've got this blazer that's got this huge 3D flower on it. This is one of my favorite pieces. This is removable as well, so you can kind of cash it down in the day and then dress it up whenever you want. You can't see it on camera, but I'm wearing like a zebra print belt as well because, again, I was feeling really like extra today because we're talking about how fashion really is that girl. Paired it with some, you know, heels, because nothing gets more flirty than heels. Stephanie Jades, of course, you guys know the deal, plug in myself. And then I just paired it with these suit pants that are pretty skinny. So that was my fashion feeling for today.
I love it. Amazing. I love it. I feel like we're really
giving different energy, but it works together, you know. You're giving masculine, I'm giving feminine together.
And is this not what we're going to be talking about?
Absolutely.
This is what I love.
Perfect. Unintentionally, by the way, guys. Unintentional.
Yeah, this wasn't planned, like, at all.
It wasn't planned. So, yeah. With that being said, let's get into some myths.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, I guess usually we do fashion myths, but today we thought we'd get into some fashion theories because it kind of relates to what we're talking about today. So
the first one, I even completely forgot. I was just so mesmerised with how amazing that you look that I forgot where I was. But yeah, the hemline index. So this was a theory created by George Taylor in the 1920s. And he really came up with that concept of the length of women's hemlines. So when we think about hemlines, it's the length of your skirt, basically, which also translates now to the length of your trousers, because women can now wear trousers. And it directly links to the stock market. And it's the idea that the shorter your hemline, so the shorter your skirt is, the better the economy is doing.
Which is super interesting.
Super interesting.
We don't have time to delve into that today, but I'm sure we'll pick it up in the future. So another index is called the lipstick index. So this term was coined by Leonard Lauder, who was the CEO and chairman of Estee Lauder, the makeup brand. And he kind of observed that when an economy is on a downturn, people tend to make smaller purchases like lipsticks.
Yeah.
How does that correlate into fashion? It means that you'll see a rise in accessories like bags, scarves, jewelries, all of that good stuff. And this is because consumers couldn't really afford to make those bigger purchases. So in order to kind of still feel good about themselves, they'd indulge in smaller things.
I love that. Yeah. And then we've got the hip hop movement, which I feel like I'm really capturing today. But it's the idea of music can influence our kind of culture and fashion. So as you probably will know, streetwear, we have lots of different versions of streetwear now, but streetwear itself as a style stemmed from marginalised groups, sort of creating that kind of space for self-reflection, which has now influenced some of the most major brands. Even on runway today, we can see streetwear influences.
Absolutely.
And this is like a challenge to you. What are some of the streetwear influences and how do you feel like they've changed? But it does beg that question on whether it's being commodified or overtaken. Has it lost its true sense?
I'll leave that to all of you to think about, but very, very interesting question. Final one, which is going to be the main focal point of the episode today, which we're super excited about, but it's how power dressing is used as a political statement. So really looking at that relationship between fashion and politics. So power dressing really did kind of have its come up in the 80s with women specifically, as they used it as a way to build and assert their dominance in both the workplace and kind of in the political space as well. So it's like, if you don't do politics, politics is going to do you. Today, we're going to really delve into that. Where does power dressing come from? What does it mean? And what does it mean in the present day as well? Women's liberation movement in the 70s. So I won't go too much into history, but essentially what this was, it was to really increase the equal rights between men and women, right?
Yeah.
This was a time where, okay, World War II is kind of, you're like 25 years post World War. And one of the biggest trends that came out of the World Wars is that women went to work. So as the men, you know, went out there, did their thing as soldiers, there was no one there to make the uniforms, to make the weaponry, to just keep things going. Yeah. So women really did step into their I'm working era. And I think in the 70s is when women really started to develop themselves career-wise and step into those positions that were predominantly male. So they had to dress the part, right? Women through history have not been taken seriously, okay? We know the history of that. Yeah. But again, to the point of fashion is so powerful that it was a way for them to appear more masculine, to build that trust with their male counterparts, and also show the workplace that I'm here.
Yeah.
I know my ish. You shouldn't undermine me or diminish what I can do because I'm a woman. Because actually, I'm dressed the part.
Yeah.
I look amazing. So from this, new trends emerged, which was kind of the women's suit. And what this kind of looks like is, you know, the shoulder. Again, if you look in the 80s, that was the era of like the shoulder pad.
Yeah.
I absolutely love shoulder pads. I wear them all the time. You can actually buy shoulder pads from Amazon, by the way.
Yeah, and put them into
underneath your clothes. If you didn't know that, guys, by the way, you can definitely do that.
It's really good.
So I guess the woman's power suit was, you know, a tailored blazer. It might be quite boxy in shape to kind of emulate a man's suit, but she would pair it with a pencil skirt. Or to make it a bit more feminine, she'd wear it with a blouse, maybe like a blouse that had pattern on it, or
texture, silk, things like that.
Kind of those more gentler fabrics or gentler colours, because I think that the goal was, it wasn't to emulate a man, it was just to show that you can show up for yourself.
Yeah.
And I deserve to be in those rooms as much as you do.
Or it was that idea around, I can take this space, but I can still be a woman. Absolutely. Right? If you're going into the office and every guy is wearing a pantsuit, right, and they're wearing navy or grey, there needs to be an alternative. But I obviously can't necessarily shop from the men's section. Yeah. Or I might not feel comfortable for that. So what is my alternative?
Right.
Women's suits.
Exactly. We see it in politics, right? If you see a female candidate, let's look at the most recent one, right, with like Trump and
Kamala
Harris. Sorry, I almost forgot her name.
No, don't worry. Do you know what?
My mind.
There was so much going on during that period that I don't blame you.
It was a lot, right? But you could literally build a case study around Kamala Harris, right? Depending on what she was talking about, she'd wear a jumpsuit, she'd wear a suit, the certain colours she'd wear, because colours, again, we will talk about that probably
colour
later
theory,
on. Colour theory and the psychology of fashion. Certain colours evoke certain feelings, moods and perceptions. So if, for example, she knew that she was speaking to a predominantly women crowd, she'd wear white, for example, right? Because if we go back to the suffragettes, solidarity. White was a signifier for solidarity. So if you're trying to unite a particular demographic, the way that you wear, the things that you wear, is a great way to do that. Again, before opening your mouth. So again, if you want to look at like UK examples like Margaret Thatcher, granted that no one really likes.
You might not agree with their political stances.
Right.
However, the way they dressed mattered.
Absolutely. And politics, again, very male dominant industry. You have to look the part. You have no option. So when it comes to women in the workplace, for example, granted we're getting there in modern day if we want to bring it back. We are getting there. But if you know you have an important board meeting or a meeting with the C-suite, what are you more likely going to put on?
Not a dress.
Or if you do wear a dress, you're going to put a blazer on top.
Yeah.
Because you want to have those masculine and feminine elements within your outfit. So it's like, you know I'm a woman, but I'm bossed up.
Yeah,
okay, you need to listen to the words that I'm saying.
Not just how I look.
And
isn't it funny, to throw us off a little bit, it's the idea around what you wear matters, but as a woman, we are intentionally making decisions so what we wear doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Right? Because you're so policed.
Yes.
We wear things so that actually at the end of the day, let's say you are a political candidate, you care about my speech, not the fact that I wore red. Not the fact that, I wore that dress, her chest was showing, her cleavage was showing. The amount of times female candidates will be over-policed and actually the speech and the messages that they wanted to get out on that day completely gone because the tabloids and the media would care more about, she's got a new blowout. Wasn't that blowout amazing? And I also think female-catered, news outlets do that as well. It's less about what they talked about, less about their policy, but I love where they got that out. That was from Karen Millen. She's talking about the world burning down and the fact that the economy is going to crash.
Yeah.
And you're talking about that free piece that she's wore. Like, it's just ridiculous. So it's that idea around some of these things may look really small. And like in our first episode, is fashion that deep? Yes, it is. Especially for marginalised groups in society. And as much as things have changed since that liberation, we are still a marginalised group, and the world will remind you like that. You stand in for election. Why is it about what I wear? A man could wear the same suit over and over again and no one cares.
Right.
And that's why, like, I know we'll talk about it in season 1 way more, but it's that idea around sustainability is almost built around men. It's easier to be sustainable as a man, and actually misogyny exists even in conscious and sustainable fashion.
Yeah.
That's exactly why we need to be having these conversations.
100%. And I just find it super interesting. Like when you look at like all the power politics, right? If you kind of put your sociology hat on and really like observe the relationship between how people dress and how that perception is, it like blows my mind, because again, historically men have always been in those positions of power. They've always been the one to set policies. So naturally we all have a kind of innate, I guess, understanding of what it looks like to be a powerful person.
Yeah, and where does that come from?
Absolutely. So power dressing couldn't be any more linked to politics, because again, it's all about perception. It's about how people perceive you.
And who makes those decisions. And who was making those decisions as well.
Power dressing now, granted we have those kind of similar shapes, textures, materials, but power dressing to me could be very different to what it is to you.
Yeah.
I love a blazer. I love something that's a bit extra. But actually you've come in double denim today, and I know you feel like you're on top of the world.
100%. So I feel like power dressing and how it's changed now for me and how I perceive power dressing is what we said, your clothes being able to articulate the things that your mouth sometimes can't or doesn't get awarded chance to before someone makes a judgment.
Yeah.
So actually the way that we dress shows how we might value the world, actually what type of things that we care about the most.
Yeah.
Do you care about your time and how put together you may look? Like, they're really absurd things to be able to say out loud, but we all do it. We make judgments on people every single day.
We do.
And we also make judgments on ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And it's that idea around power dressing is your political mood to send signals into the world, into society, into your environment to showcase what space are you taking up. The more confident I become in myself, the less I think about power dressing of putting on a persona.
Right.
It's more around emphasizing the things that I know I'm already, right? So for me, when I first started off in my career, I had to care about power dressing because no one cares about what you say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they will care about what you look like. You might be in a lift with an MD or a partner and they might say, I really like your outfit today, right? That's an hour conversation. They might ask you, I really like your bag. That has been a conversation starter that has closed me loads of deals before. And I think even when we were speaking about it, I don't want to talk for too long, but I remember we were speaking about it, like for speaking engagements for me, I'm a young black girl. Sometimes I'm speaking on stage to thousands and thousands of people and I'm often the youngest keynote speaker. You walk into a room, everyone doesn't even think you're a keynote speaker. So in order to take up that space, I would wear heels all the time.
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm going into spaces where maybe attention might be on me, I'm tall. I want to be even taller. I want to take up way more space so that you know, and so that I know as well, like there is a difference and I'm allowed to take up this space. You're being paid to take up that space.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
And it's the idea around power dressing is like, I think at that point it was like a persona for me. Now I don't care about it. Like I am so sure in my value, my experience, and that I'm that girl that now I actually love cosplaying the opposite. And I think this is what must happen to like the billionaires that we see. Like everyone obviously always talks about the fact that Steve Jobs, he's the CEO and founder of like a huge company, but would always wear like literally the black turtleneck.
Yeah.
And it was like, he wasn't wearing suits, but that was his power. It was that idea around, actually, I know who I am. I don't need to cosplay. Why am I wearing a suit? I'm the one who's at the top and I'm making those decisions. So I know for me, when I go into board meetings now and things like that, especially being a CEO and like a previous former CEO, I think for me, my big thing was like, you're coming to listen to me. You're paying my company. Like, I actually want to rock in like this. This is a suit. Technically, it's still a suit. And it's that idea around, that's my actual power dressing. Right. That's the idea around, I feel so confident in this space. I feel so sure about myself. I don't care what you think, because at the end of the day, you need me. You need me. Yeah. And it's the idea of being like bold enough. Like, that is a political statement.
Absolutely.
I recognize my value. I recognize that I have something to give. Therefore, I want my clothes to be able to show that. And that's it.
That's so interesting, because I feel like me, I feel like my true style is like outside of work. Really? Because it's very interesting, because I'm kind of in a way the opposite to you, right? So I work in the advertising industry, and diversity is really, really, really bad, right? I know that's like that across the board, across different industries, but in advertising in particular, it's really bad, right? So I'm like one of a handful of black people in my office. Or I hate the term POC, but like POC in general, right? There's probably about 15% of us or less of the whole company. So granted, I'm not saying I think I'm like looking at my skin every day like I'm a black woman.
I'm different.
I don't think like that, right? But I am a bit extra hyper aware when I'm in the office. So I actually dress down, because I'm like, I know I'm already different.
Really?
I don't want to... It's so weird. And I'm trying to train myself, because like, Steph, you're really starting to curate your wardrobe now. Like, who cares, man? Granted, I wouldn't wear this to work. This is doing way too much.
Yeah. Like knowing your place.
Yeah, knowing your place. But yeah, it's weird for me.
That's so interesting.
I dress down because...
But in your outside life, you dress up. Yeah. Like, you want that.
I feel free. I feel totally free. If I'm going somewhere after work, if I'm going anywhere on the weekend or whatever, I will wear my true style, because... Like, for example, my sister would be like, your style's a little weird. Not weird, right? It's not weird, but she's like, you just have weird pieces that I wouldn't pick up myself, but I absolutely love it. Like, now she's like, granted, she's older than me, but she'd be like, yeah, I need this for this occasion or whatever. So it's like, I don't feel confident enough to wear that in the workplace, which is so weird. Like, even now I'm stepping into like wearing bold colours and people be like, oh my gosh, Steph, I love it. And I'm like, why are you not doing this more? Yeah. Like, just be that fashion girly at work.
I love it. Sorry. I love it. That's a thing that I don't mind taking up space, because I think it makes other people feel comfortable that actually the broker of a conversation with you isn't about, are you hitting your KPIs? Are you hitting your numbers? Yeah. Actually, it's around, I love what you're wearing. Tell me more. Like, people want those kind of, you're a human being before you're a human doing. And that comes into your clothes as well.
Absolutely. So that's something I'm definitely working on. But again, this is why I think it's so important. We're doing a little bit of a segue, but it's so important to feel comfortable at work. Yeah. Because then you feel like you can, dress the way that you want. So, yeah. That's needless to say.
That's a challenge to everyone.
It's a challenge to everyone.
How can you take up more space of your outside persona in work? Because bleak as it is, you spend more time at work than you do at home.
You do. So it's important to feel bossed up and feel powerful as soon as you walk into that office.
Facts. So power dressing to us, obviously, we've mentioned, has changed and keeps changing and evolving. And we hope that by us, I'm kind of unpacking that, we're moving closer to you recognising how you can power dress and how power dressing can be a really, really powerful tool for you in your own life. And I think some of the things that you can take away from today as practical kind of tips is, what's that kind of common thread in all of your pieces? Are there particular patterns that you can look at, shapes or types of clothing? Do you prefer trousers more often? And how can you basically emphasize those in all environments in your life? Do a wardrobe audit. Look at some of those pieces that you want to get rid of, because there could be things that are not serving you anymore. And actually, if you are transitioning into a new career. Like, I'm obviously moving into fashion tech. So whereas in corporate and whereas in the mental health space, no, I probably wouldn't have been able to wear this. Like, I would have been in suits. Oh my God, my wardrobe was boring. Like, and now I can't wait that my next headshot was going to have grills in. Yeah. Finally.
Why not?
Who's going to tell me? Who's going to tell me off? But it's that idea around thinking about your identity, that next step and the environments that you take in. How does your wardrobe, or how can your wardrobe help you feel like safer?
Yeah.
And I think the other bit is asking yourself, where do you feel the most confident and the more like yourself? And feel the most protected, and invest in those areas. And don't feel afraid of investing in higher pieces as well. And I think especially if you're going to be wearing them more frequently, don't feel afraid to invest in those higher pieces.
Yeah, just what's your common thread? Like, if you're someone that likes colour, wear colour to the gym, but also wear it in the office, but also wear it when you go out. So there's fluidity. Like, you can feel powerful no matter where you are, right? You like colour, wear it to the gym. I'm ready for my workout today. Wear it to the office. I feel like that meeting, I have a bit of anxiety about it, but I feel powerful in how I've dressed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to my friend's birthday. We're going somewhere nice. Let me pop some colour on, you know?
I love that.
Just find your common threads. What makes you feel powerful in every single scenario? And you're good.
We could talk about this forever, couldn't we? But we're wrapping this episode up. Thank you so much for listening to today's episodes, The Mistresses of Fashion, right? It was incredible. And I'm sure we'll touch on these topics a lot more down the line. So I've got 2 bits to leave you with. Can you remember a moment where you picked a particular outfit or piece of clothing to elevate yourself in a room? And are there any fashion moments you can think of that were a political statement? Might be recent, might be in past times, or might be things that you're thinking about are coming up in the next kind of couple of years. But what are the things that you're looking at?
Amazing. That was a great episode, Greg.
It was fantastic. I loved it.
Thank you all for listening, for watching. Make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, share it with a friend so we reach new audiences. And as always, if you enjoyed the discussion, we'll pop some more resources for you down below in the description. And always remember that the best fashion statement you can make is by staying true to yourself. So until next time.
Bye.
Bye.